Good afternoon, and welcome to our industry show. This is our seventh edition and our seventh recording here at the Miami Community Newspaper. And today we have a special guest with us, and her name is Gisel. Welcome, Gisel, to the Miami Community Newspaper, and glad to have you here. And we're going to be speaking today about the industry, about construction. And I know you have a very good background in this trade. That's why we brought you here today to speak about the industry. And that being said, I want to welcome to all our listeners and I want to thank everyone that has been participating and listening to our show. And also remember to please share this show with all your family, friends, and post it so people can have information about the latest information of what's happening in the construction industry. And that being said, Giselle, anything you want to say to us today? Welcome. Welcome to the Miami Community Newspaper.
Thank you, Ernie, for the opportunity of sharing with you my life and my experience in this industry. I'm really flattered that you invited me today,
Perfect.
and let's do this.
Perfect. Well, I'm gonna read a little bio about Giselle, and just so that you know her background. Miss Hernandez
Yes.
has over 5 years of experience in the construction and management, and more than 8 years of experience in the management industry. Specific expertise includes cost analysis during pre-construction process and construction, contract administration. She holds a bachelor's degree in architecture and a graduate degree in construction management as a project manager in Fort Lauderdale, in the Fort Lauderdale area.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Her roles and responsibility include managing claims, investigation, completion of contracting, construction management, financial analysis, field investigation activities, detailed schedule reviews, and compositions of complex technical reports, as well as cost to complex analysis.
Complete analysis. Yeah.
Complete analysis. There you go. So you complete the analysis.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do a cost to complete analysis of projects that are in default and the surety company has taken over. So we prepare the cost to complete analysis for the
Got it.
for the insurance company for them to know what is the status of the project.
Of the project. Well. Thank you so much for being here. So the reason why you're here is to show women and people in the industry that you don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a lawyer. You just have to step out that box and out of that comfort zone and basically get into another industry that perhaps you find yourself and you find your niche. In this case, Miss Hernandez found her niche. Tell us about your story of why you got into this industry, how you started, and why you got into it.
So I graduated from a I have a bachelor degree in architecture from Dominican Republic. I graduated in 2008.
Correct.
And then I came to the United States and I had to start over. So when I came here, I did what I had to do. I had to forget about everything in the past, about my life in Dominican Republic, and start over here. So I decided just to find out what else I could do. I spent the first 2 3 years working in a factory or spa as a receptionist, and then later on as a technician. However, I wanted to be in the industry with architecture or either construction. At the moment, I didn't know. So when I started working with the engineer and the architect doing drafting, I I got a lot of interaction with contractors because the engineer that I used to work for, he does a lot of inspections. So I became his office manager later on, and I was managing the team, the projects, and his inspections, and later on going to the building department just to solve the plans comments.
Correct.
So I spoke to the architect that I used to work for, and I told him that I would like to do a master degree, but I was thinking about doing it in architecture. And he looked at me and he told me, "Listen, Giselle, you are an architect, and that's something that nobody can take away from you. So go out there and do something better and get more knowledge in another industry.
Right. And back in your country, when you had this degree, did you work doing architectural designs?
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
just a little bit. I
Okay. So
only
you
work.
brought that experience over.
I had that experience, but I also had the knowledge, because when you do a bachelor degree in architecture, it's not something that everyone can go and get.
Right.
It's something that you have to work for it.
Right. Right. And how many
And
years did that take you in Dominican
it
Republic?
took me 5 years.
5 years.
It took me 5 years, and 5 years
Right.
that not not being with my family and friends and telling them no, because I had to do all of these assignments and projects. And when I came to Miami, I was amazed about the projects here and the buildings here, because those are the ones that I used to do that. There is a building here in Miami that reminds me of a project that I did in Design 8, I believe it was.
Right.
So I decided to keep looking and to find my new passion. So I went to Miami-Dade to see, just took a course really fast about construction management. What is it? And
To find out what it's
exactly.
about. Right. Right.
So I did that. Unfortunately, the professor was someone that honestly I wouldn't recommend to anyone. But I made up my mind. I met some people and I told them, listen, I'm going to go and get my master, and I'm going to just
Follow
work it out.
this degree.
And I did. And when I finished my master degree, I got a job in the construction industry.
Right.
I started as an estimator, and I have worked my way up in this industry. And right now, I'm actually living my best life and just
Yes,
keep
yes.
learning
And growing.
And growing. That's the most important part,
Right.
the growth. And when I got my first job in construction, I told them, like, am I able to work within this company, because I don't like to jump around? And they told me, yes, absolutely. You will grow and you will learn anything that you need to learn to be a project manager, basically. I don't have all of the experience of people having 30 years in the industry, and I actually respect that, and I try to learn every day and to be close to those people, because that's something that is really important, not only in this industry but in life. You have to pay attention to the people that know better than you, because
To learn. Correct.
you will learn something different. You will
Mhm.
learn something different.
There's a value, added value to that.
Yes, and I believe a lot in
Mhm.
leadership and mentorship.
Mentorship, yes.
And
Yeah, I see that you do a lot of postings. I get all these postings from you every day, which they're very motivational, and that's what I like about you. And I brought you to the show because not only you're a woman, you're empowering women to go into an industry that they never would have thought they could do this. And myself, I mean, I'm in the HVAC business and the supply business, and we've hired, an employee that she's also female, had no clue, no idea about HVAC, and she's been with us now for about 9 months, and she's doing a great job dealing with contractors. So we need to send a message to women out there, and to anyone that is sitting at home with nothing to do, is go out there, get a course, learn about construction, learn about management, and work your way up.
Yes.
Because like you said, you started in Dominican Republic, you got here to the United States following an American dream.
Yes,
I am sure.
the American dream. Yes.
Yes. The hard-working American dream. But we got to work hard, and we got to study. And that's the story they don't say behind the books
Exactly.
and behind the scenes. But if you do work, if you go outside that box, if you do what you've done, you will be successful.
Yes, because you have to understand that it's your attitude what matters. If
Right.
you are willing to learn, and if you are willing to grow, and if you are willing to just do whatever it takes to make it happen and just to grow, is you will do everything that you can, that you want.
Right. So I read these stories that you put out every day, and
Yes.
they're motivational. What makes you do that, and why you do that? And I see you have a lot of followers as well.
I do,
You
but
can speak to the camera to your followers there.
Okay.
So
I feel that all of us need motivation, and I read all of these posts every day for myself and to motivate myself and to remind myself that I can do it. And when I post that, and somebody, if one person replies back to me, I feel good that I'm impacting one life, and with one life he's impacting and or her she is impacting another life, and I just do it to help out people because you don't know who might need it that day. Sometimes someone can text me and tell me, listen, you have been helping me a lot with everything that you post, and I can think like, okay, well, I'm glad that I did, because we all need that. And I have people that have done that for me, so I just decided to do it, and keep just learning and motivating people, because that I think that's the most important thing, just to encourage each other to
Right.
keep growing.
Right.
This is not a
Mentor each other.
it's not only
Mentor others.
mentor, it's also coaching, it's
Coaching.
also a empowering people, because sometimes we get this imposter syndrome that who am I to be here, who am I to get a call from you. But actually, if I think about my life, I'm amazing, and I have to tell myself that, because I have a lot of people
You have
that
to believe in yourself.
I have a lot of people telling me that, and I didn't believe that, and I didn't believe in myself so much. But now I'm just empowering myself and telling myself, listen, you got this.
You got
And you can help people, and you can motivate people, and you can approach people.
Well, I'll tell you, you're a natural. I know that you've never done an interview before,
No.
but see, you're a natural. You're doing it because you have the will, and you're expressing yourself to help others, and that's
Yes.
why you're here to send a
I'm-
voice and says you're empowered. I want to empower you, and I want to help you as well to do the move I did.
And I would like to encourage people to be uncomfortable. Like
Get out of the
now,
comfort zone.
right now, this is out of my comfort zone.
Exactly.
But if you do something different and you get out of your comfort zone, just
You're going to learn.
to do
the
something
experience.
that you want to do, but you are afraid to do so, I think you will be surprised about the end, because you might realize that you actually like it and you like something different. And if you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you are expecting a different result with your life, is insanity.
Correct.
So just try to do something different out of your comfort zone, something that you didn't do yesterday or last week.
Or something you don't expect that you've ever done,
Exactly.
and perhaps plan it and do it. And that's going to learn how to get you out of that comfort zone.
Exactly.
Right. Like I made a phone call and I said, Gisel, I need you here at the Miami Community Newspaper. And guess what? You're here.
I'm here
You said,
today.
Ernie, I got you.
Yes.
And thank you for this opportunity, having you here. That being said, Giselna has worked in projects before, and she's done takeoffs for our company, working with contractors. And basically, she's here to assist them doing this kind of takeoffs. And tell us a little bit about what you're doing besides working for a company that you represent, doing what you just explained. What also are you doing that you could also help your business, help yourself, help the industry? As far as what you can do. Yes.
I do have
You're
experience.
freelance. Correct?
Yes. I am a freelance, and I also do estimating services and bookkeeping for small businesses.
Okay.
And with the estimating services, it's pretty much what I did for you. That is the takeoff and preparing the projects just for a bit.
Right.
Because sometimes you don't have the time, or you are too busy with another project, and you just need that little push, that little help.
Right.
So that's something that I can offer as well.
All right.
That-
Shout out to contractors. Please contact Gisel. Gisel, what's a good phone number to reach you?
It's 786-239-9962.
Right. So Gisel will take a full set of plans. You give it to her, the mechanical plans, and she will, in an Excel spreadsheet, color coded, explaining the takeoffs from the grills, from the boots, from how many duct sheets you're going to need.
Yes.
Do the complete takeoff and turn it into you, so that way we could give you a price, and that way you could bid the price at a faster pace.
Exactly.
And not only that, but it's also accurate, because Gisel does a very accurate job, and she details and entails the project a summary, correct?
Yes,
Of what it
because
is.
it is really important to actually look at the drawings and read the specifications. Right now, a lot of people, they know how to count, however, they don't understand the scope. And yes, you can count the features, you can count the grills, however, you need to understand how this is working. And I really enjoyed that class that I took with you
Yes.
to understand the system better. And
Right.
that is something that you have to do in this industry. Is if you don't know something, just ask the question. Don't be afraid to ask the question
Right.
and learn,
Right. Right.
because there is no wrong question.
Right. Right.
And you will learn. And when I was preparing that document for you, I remember all of the conversations that we had, and that system that you offer. I actually didn't have the all
Experience.
of the
Right, which
experience.
is the Unico small duct high
Exactly.
velocity unit. And yeah, sure.
But it was a great experience to be doing that work for
Right,
you,
to do the takeoff.
to do the takeoff, and to learn
Right.
that
And
part about the mechanical
right. And like you
industry.
said, we at HVAC providers, we offer a training from the manufacturer to show people like yourself and the contractors and train them on products that we sell. So we train them and certify them on that product. So we offer this class where we invite engineers, architects to participate so they know how the system functions. That way the contractors knows how to install them. And if you're going to be helping someone to do a takeoff, you have the experience of how it really works.
And telling the architect you missed this part.
Correct, correct, correct. Because now you went to the class, you've learned how the system works, and now
Yes.
you have the experience.
And that's really important to
Right.
do in this industry, is
Correct.
pay attention to the details.
Correct. And let's talk a little bit about like when you're in the projects and you're working on a project and you have an RFI, which is request for information. I know there's a lot of details going into that. Like we were speaking a little bit earlier before our interview, that you have an RFI, but there are other people in the same industry that may be affected by that change. Could you elaborate a little bit about that, of how, those
Yes.
change orders really need a little bit of more attention than
Exactly.
just doing a change order?
So when the contractor issue an RFI and that RFI response trigger a change order, something really important to look at is the scope of work itself.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to do something in an existing building, then you have other trades being impacted by the mechanical work that you have to perform.
Right. So the
there.
plumber, the electrical may be running in that way.
Exactly.
Or the
And not
wire
only
that-
and not only that is the finishes part. It's the one that everyone forgets. The
Mhm.
finishes, that if you open up a wall, then you have to put up that wall to patch it, and then you have the drywall, and then you have the painting.
To go over.
So sometimes you have to paint the whole wall all over again, because you cannot have the same
Match
the
the same
match.
color. Correct.
So that's something that you have to take into consideration. A lot of
Right.
people miss, and even issuing change orders, they miss that part.
Right.
And the owner can come back and say, "Oh, but I paid for that change order," and you cannot go back to the owner and tell, "Oh yes, Mr. Owner, I forgot to
But now I have to paint the whole
patching,
wall." Right.
the patching and the painting." Now you have to pay it out of pocket.
Right. Right. So this is where your expertise comes in.
Yes.
And you help really intel and detail what needs to be changed.
Yes.
And how it needs to be changed.
Exactly.
Counting with everybody else.
And explaining the
And
scope
explain
of
the work
scope of work
of
to
it
the
being
owner.
changed.
Yes.
Being changed. Wow. So give me an idea of what's been your best project. Talk to me about a good project that you
My
liked, a good
best-
experience that you had that we could talk about.
So this was a small project that I did, the pre-construction phase.
Okay.
I was not part of the construction itself, but I worked on the pre-construction. The company that I used to work for was had a contract as CM at risk, which is a type of contract that is fairly used here in Miami-Dade.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the opportunity. It was under 2 millions, and it was basically remodeling. But I had the experience to deal with the architect from the beginning to the construction itself, to the bidding portion.
So it was a pre-construction. So you had the
Yes.
right.
But when you are working as CM at risk, you are, as contractor, you are responsible for everything, because you are giving to the owner a GMP cost, which is the warranted maximum price. So to issue a change order under that contract is because the owner asked you for something else, not because you missed something.
Got it.
Like in the heartbeat projects.
Got
So
it.
this experience, going to the site, having meetings with all of the trades that will be involved in And that project helped me to learn the importance of the scope of work related to each trade and
Wow.
how the trades coordinate among themselves.
Each other. Right, right, right.
And working in construction later on another project, learning the fact that they actually do not talk among each other during the construction phase, but
They don't speak to each other.
they don't
They go to meetings, they make a plan,
but they don't.
and they go.
No, they don't. So
Okay.
that project actually helped me out because preparing all of the information and the RFIs for the pre-construction RFIs to the architect about things that they were missing. I actually did a study about the mechanical system because we were replacing the mechanical system on that school. It was a school project. And when I had the specifications of the product that they were specifying, and I had the drawings, and I had the opportunity to go to the site and measure everything and go to the roof, I was able to tell the architect and the owner that the location of those mechanical units were wrong.
We're wrong. Oh, that always happens to us. We always have to go to the
That you
field.
didn't have the space, that they
my
couldn't
God.
do it in that area. I had to draw everything and show them and explain to them, sit with them, and
Right.
find out with the mechanical estimator that we had at the time a possible solution to those
To those
rooms, basically.
Right.
And it was a good experience.
Right,
It
because
was a
what
great experience
Yes.
going to the field and actually seeing and not just relying on the drawings. It was an amazing experience.
Correct.
Even on the inside, when I realized, okay, we have to paint this wall, but when we got to the room, there was a cabinet. You know, what is this cabinet? I didn't.
Where
have,
is it in the drawings?
Who is demoing this cabinet? So that was one of the projects that I actually remember dearly, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot with that
Yes,
project.
yes, yes. I could see what you're relating to because it does happen to us, and we understand because engineers they design based on what they're told, based what they might think. But when you actually take those set of plans and you bring them to the field, like that's what I do as well with the contractor, and we do what is called a walkthrough.
Yes.
We realize that guess what? There's a column here, and they say that we were going to run an air conditioning duct through here. It's not going to work,
Exactly.
and that's where we have those RFIs, and we got to change it. But this is something that you do prior than to running to these changes. So you actually go to the field
Yes.
and you check with your plans to make sure that this is going to work.
That is when you have that type of contract. But
Right.
when you have a heartbeat, honestly, you don't have the time to do that and to go over everything. So
Everything.
you have to
So-
price what is within the contract.
Okay, so what is that contract called? I'm actually learning this from you.
The first one that I spoke about is CM at risk, which is
CM at risk.
construction manager at risk.
Okay,
The contractor takes the risk, basically.
got it. If there's any other changes, he's buying the deal.
Exactly.
And the
then
other one is
you have the heartbeat, which
the
is
heartbeat.
you are what is in the contract. That's what you are pricing, because you have to rely on those drawings, and it's a competition, actually.
Because it's a bidding process.
Exactly.
It goes into
It's-
bidding.
Yes.
Got it.
Actually, the pre-construction one that I did, the CM at risk, it goes out to bid as well.
Okay.
But the contractor manages the bid process along with the county.
Okay. Have you done any county work?
Yes.
Yes. What kind of work have you done for the county?
The county, we worked for the MDCPS, Miami-Dade County Public Schools. That's the project that I was referring to earlier.
Perfect.
And then I worked for a little bit Miami MIA at the airport
Mhm.
as a project engineer. And then for Broward County as cost manager at the Fort Lauderdale airport.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, now that we're talking about the county, unfortunately, we had a mishap, as you know, here in Northside in the beach. Surfside, correct? That building collapsed, and I understand that we're in the industry, and there's a lot of people saying a lot of things and pointing fingers, and I understand it's a very delicate topic and a very delicate subject to speak about, and my heart goes out to other families and friends and everyone that has lost someone in this horrible tragedy that shouldn't happen. but it's not the time to start pointing fingers, but to perhaps, you know, look at this industry as a whole, and maybe we should be doing things a little bit different, or maybe a little bit slower, or a little bit stronger. You as an engineer, or working
Architect.
architect working in this field, um, is the construction being built quick? Is the construction, because nowadays they make a building in 6 months. You know, I just bought a new house and they build it in 8 months.
Yes.
So is that a factor, or is that could be a factor? I understand also a bridge went down while being constructed here in South Florida as well. So is this something that we need to look a little bit more in depth as far as how they're being constructed? What is your thoughts and your idea on this?
So my personal opinion on that matter, honestly, is you have to let the professional do their job. And honestly, when people talk without holding a license, either as a contractor, as an engineer, as a certified inspector, is is a lot to say. Like, you don't understand the industry itself, and you shouldn't make an opinion out of the blue without understanding the whole industry, because some people like to point fingers to the engineer or to the architect or to the
Or
contractor
to the builder, correct?
or to the builder, or in this case the condo
The
association.
condo association, right?
But honestly, you have to wait for an investigation to happen, to a professional, to a group of professionals, because even when they do the investigation, it's not one person. It's a lot of people that have to be involved to get to the bottom of it. And a lot of consultants, inspectors, engineers, and actually professionals holding a license. And I'm just pointing on this because it might have been the structure, it might have been a wrong inspection, it might have been the construction itself, it might have been so many things, it might have been another project next to it,
Right.
it might have been the tide from the ocean. We don't know. We don't know until a full
Could there have been a
investigation.
sinkhole?
eh, we
Could have
don't
been,
know.
right?
We honestly don't know until a full investigation is complete. And as a consultant in construction, because right now I'm working as a consultant in construction,
Right.
even when we go to projects and people ask us questions when we are doing an inspection, we don't respond to those questions at the moment, because we cannot reply back just, oh yes, I'm looking, that wall doesn't match, and my opinion is that they did a wrong job. No, probably when they finished that project, or that wall, it was good and it was complete and everyone did everything that they had to do right. What happened in between is the question.
Right.
So
It's like a doctor. First, you need to find out what's wrong with the patient, run the exams
exactly,
to get the test results, and then
exactly,
you can elaborate. Because right now, unfortunately, they are starting to point fingers at everyone without a thorough investigation. That's the bottom line.
and they have to wait. And I don't like to entertain people just giving their opinion.
Mhm.
And the first question, honestly, that I ask is, what is your license? What is
Right.
your background?
And this is
And what is your experience?
and this is to the public, and to everyone out there. You need to use licensed contractors. Buildings, I know they require, if you're not a licensed contractor, if you don't have insurance, you cannot work in these buildings, because these kind of faults, could happen.
Exactly.
And I've noticed also a lot of people are starting to get snapshots of buildings around, you know, around
This,
Miami, and they're showing parking lots that they're cracking and so forth. Have you heard anything about that going on right now?
I have not heard about that going on right now, but I wouldn't be surprised because
Yes.
everyone wants a spotlight and everyone wants to be an engineer and everyone
Yes, yes.
wants to have just 5 minutes
Right.
of fame.
I
I'll
think
say
yes.
an engineer that he does 40 years recertifications in that area as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
And he is really detailed on his reports and he is very thorough. So We have to let the professional
Do the work.
do their work.
Now, let me
Basically.
ask you, the 40-year, is that, how did they set that 40-year span of reinspection?
You
Is
have to wait 40 years.
why? Why do I have to wait 40 years? Could it be reinspected in 30 years? Why is there a reinspection of 30 years instead of 40
No,
years?
40-year recertifications happens on buildings
Right. Why?
on from four dwellings, fourplex and up.
Oh, 4 floors and up.
Not four
No,
floors, fourplex.
fourplex. Okay, 4 units.
Fourplex, 4 units and up. So they do a recertification
Interesting.
of 40 years, and then after that first 40 year, every 10 years, they have to recertify the building. And the recertification is basically electrical and structural.
And structure.
Yes.
And my question is, would they probably be looking at maybe lowering that down to maybe a 30-year certification? Because if we would have caught this building maybe 10 years before, that might have made a change and we would have saved lives.
I don't know the span that they might do, but I do know that after this one,
They're going to be looking at it.
the Florida building code may change,
May change.
and they might do some exceptions in some type of buildings, maybe the ones that are along the ocean.
Mhm.
And yes,
Because they have salt water that probably
this might trigger a change
a
to the
change
code.
to the code.
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. All right. Anything else you want to share with us today? Because we're almost about done here with this interview. I've really learned a lot with you here. Like you say, every day you learn something new.
Yes.
So I learned a few things with you here today. We spoke about some interesting things that are happening around our town, around our city, and we're part of it.
We
and,
are.
And we need to, no matter if it's good or bad, we need to make it better.
Yes.
And we need to evaluate and re-evaluate all these situations that are happening
Mhm.
within our industry, within construction, within building, the codes, etc. And we're all here to work together, like you're saying, and be a team.
This is not a competition, and construction is teamwork. You cannot do it by yourself.
Right.
You have to rely on other people to help you out and do great.
Right. And let's, before we go, tell us a little bit about your family and friends. Anything you want to say about your family, about your friends, your mom, your dad, anything that you want to shout out to them and say, hey, you're here.
I love you all. Honestly, my family goes first, and
Right.
my closest friends as well. And yes, I love you guys.
Okay, good, good. Well, again, Giselle, thank you so much for being here at the Miami Community Newspaper, sharing this great information. Like I said, I learned from you today. And how was your experience? Did you learn something here today as well?
Of course, and thank you for having me. And actually, I really enjoyed this.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I want to thank the Miami Community Newspaper. I want to thank behind the scenes Tommy for always being here and supporting us, and Michael Miller and his brother Grant. I want to thank you for this great opportunity. Cutler Bay Business Association, please always be part of it. We're going to have our luncheon meeting in 2 weeks, and we'd love to see you there. Giselle, thank you for being here. Thank you. I want to bring you back to my show to follow up on what's been going on here locally in Miami, and perhaps maybe you have some new certification
Yes.
that you're working on, and
I'm working on actually.
you
I'm
want to
working.
share it with us as well.
Not
Okay?
a problem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And please, everyone, share this information. It's going to be very valuable to your family and friends. And again, thank you to the Miami Community Newspaper for this opportunity. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.